This is the second video in our report widget series. Today we're going to be talking about bookmark reports. It really should be called bookmark and grid reports. This is basically the halfway point in between, in terms of complexity, in between the FTK reports and the custom reports. Bookmark reports are a pretty good way of getting information out of the grid and out of your case in a reasonably flexible way. But they are slightly more complex than the FTK reports. So let's go and look at them and hop into the tool here, and we'll go straight into reports. And we're going to drop down to bookmark and grid reports. And you can see the basic setup is pretty straightforward. You've got the ability to load from templates, either report templates or saved reports or or saved templates. You can use these drop-down menus to accomplish that. The difference between saved reports and saved templates is that a saved report saves the case-specific information, basically everything, and the template only saves the generic information, which with the primary difference being report types. For example, if you were to have generated a report with this selected and in your grid items checked, those are case specific. So if you then save that report as a template, you won't save the information you had checked because it's unique to that case. Whereas if you had saved it as a report, it would save everything you had selected. Anyway, we can generate a report name. We can report on checked items, labeled items, tasks, or bookmarks. We can generate a PDF or a docx report. PDFs get added back to the case so you can see them very easily. I prefer them greatly. Docx's are a little bit more dynamic in that they have links that internal to the documents, and they actually export the documents holistically as into the file directory. But to be honest, if you're not using PDF, my preference generally is to use FTK reports. If you're looking for that sort of interactive type report, then I think FTK reports does it better. And so I would recommend that. I would recommend, honestly, you either stay here and take advantage of some of the unique features of the bookmark or grid report, or that you use the FTK reports. Anyway, report columns, you could select whatever columns you want. Is this an aggregate report? This is a reasonably complex tool concept that is used or will be used extensively in our future reporting endeavors. Right now, honestly, I suspect you can simply ignore it. But what does it do? A report of reports allows you to aggregate several reports that you've created. So if you have 5 or 6 reports down here, you can select them, and they will be gathered together as a single report and put out to your system. So why would you use this? Let's say you had a bunch of labels and you wanted to generate a separate report for each of them. Let's say one is evidence related to the gun. So we have a gun label and we create a report on that. One is evidence related to the place of the crime, and we export a report on that. And we do all these different reports, and then ultimately at the end of the case, we want a single report that summarizes all of them. Well, we have the option here of selecting this and then selecting the reports and exporting them as a single report. You can include files if you have if you've selected bookmarks. You can also include text selections. We're going to stay focused on the label options. And then you can add a title page. The title page is the same as the one utilized in the FTK report, so nothing particularly special there. So let's go ahead and load our demo case. And let's see what reports we already have. Here they are. Here are the 3 we have. And we're just going to click into one of them, and it will load it here over in the viewer. And you can see we've got the nice title page, and we can scroll down. And then we have the information we had selected in terms of the columns and the documents that were labeled. So we had 4 documents labeled, and we chose to export extensions, logical object, logical size, well these metadata attributes. So it put it into a grid for us. And then if we scroll down, we had chosen to export the files, and you can see here are the files with a single space divider. In future releases of this, in this single space divider, we're going to have information, the metadata information related to the file. So you can look for that honestly very shortly in any version that publishes after, let's say, the 23rd, or let's say next week sometime. We'll have that feature. We're working on that right now. But nonetheless, it's not in this version. Right now, we just have the single page divider. And so let's scroll back up. One thing I want to point out to you is if I go back down the document again, you'll see that there are 3 files exported, but there were 4 in my grid. Why is that? Because this file, this .dat, does not turn into PDF well. This is a PDF document, so obviously it needs to be PDFable if I want to include it as part of the report. So it was simply omitted. So that's something to keep an eye out for in the event that that's relevant to the document sets you're using. So now let's just quickly create a report so you could see the process one time, and then we'll be done. So we're going to call this our demo report, and we'll stick with our labels here, and we'll do both of these. I think we have each one. This was the test label, and this is the summary label. So this will be a little bit larger of a report. And we're sticking with PDF, and let's choose our columns. We'll choose the same columns. So object name, and then object files path, and then extensions, and then logical file size. All right, the same for. And it's not a report of reports, and we want a title page, and we're going to call this demo, and the title is going to be both labels. Not a very good title, obviously. Tim, and then for our date, let's do 9/23/2018, and let's go ahead and run this. Report is starting. It doesn't give good status. I think that's something we'll have to change here shortly, but it runs nearly instantaneously. So let me show you where you could get a status if you have a very large report that maybe is taking a little while. The same as always, you come into the job report, click get status, and there it is, it's running. So I bet you if I refresh right now, it will be done because it runs relatively quickly, but let's just see. Yep, as I thought, it was done. Now we can come back into our report and refresh our grid down here. And let's click on the demo and see what happened. All right, so you could see demo was what we called it. We gave it the both labels, and it's by Tim, and this was the date. And then we come down here, and here are the aggregate files that we had bookmarked. Now, interestingly enough, you're going to point out that this is the same as was the case in this sum labels. I suspect that we would quickly find if we went and looked, I had labeled the same documents. Otherwise, our list here would be longer. And so we come down here and we see, again, the files attached. So that's how it works. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. If you want to download this to your local desktop, you can go ahead and click this, and it will download it. I think that is the only thing. I think that's the end of our demo here. Let me think if there's anything I missed out that's particularly important. Nope, that's I think everything you'll need. So hopefully that is helpful, and good luck.